I'm Sheila Gunn Reid for the Rebel.media, and I'm here in downtown Edmonton on the day of Jason Kenney's swearing in to attend a pro-pipeline rally. But it's more than just a pro-pipeline rally. It's also a rally against Justin Trudeau's moratorium on BC tanker traffic, Bill C-48. Now, C-48 will make it impossible for more pipelines for export to be approved because there's no way a tanker can take the oil offshore. There's about 20 or 30 people gathered here today because in the hotel behind me, the Senate is holding hearings on Bill C-48. And while the politicians are being sworn in somewhere else, I'm sort of more interested in the people who got them elected, the people that are here, the people who want pipelines, and the people who voted for change here in Alberta. So let's go talk to them and check out what they have to say.
Eliminate 48! Eliminate 48!
Jason Kenney was just getting sworn in about an hour ago. What's the first thing he needs to do to get a pipeline built?
Need to get rid of this carbon tax and then go after the government to build this pipe. It's our pipeline. We're paying for it. We want it, and he's going to do it.
Listening to Albertans would be a great first step and actually talking with us instead of the former government who ignored us. So talking with us would be the first great step in actually listening.
A lot of Max Bernier's ideas are exactly what I think is needed in this country. We have to get rid of the political correctness, the duplicity, the lies, and recognize that, first of all, our oil and gas industry is Canada's industry, not just Alberta and Saskatchewan.
I think he needs to keep working his position that he's always worked, and that is to keep pushing for clean oil and gas in Canada, and he needs to make sure that he's doing it and showing what kind of ethically produced oil and gas we actually have. They need to use that standard, and it needs to be a stronger push to that. Got to get away from just talking about how dirty the oil sands are and start talking about our clean oil and gas that we do have. There's a lot more to it than just the oil sands in Alberta.
I think it's a big mistake to assume that we're out of the woods now, that Mr. Kenney's our leader. Now we're like just getting into the thicket. Now our problems, we have the ability to do something about them. So yeah, there's a lot of the things that he talked about on the campaign trail. I'd just like to see promises kept. Promise made, promise kept.
Bill C-48 austerely says no to Canadian oil while allowing foreign oil to go up and down the coast.
I'd just like to know when our overlords in Ottawa are going to pay the same attention and scrutiny to the blood oil that's coming in daily on tankers in the St. Lawrence River from countries like Saudi Arabia and Venezuela, while they unfairly and biasedly blockade our own oil and work to diligently destroy our own energy industry here in Canada. When's that going to happen, Ottawa?
Venezuela just devolved into civil war today, and yet we'll import oil from Venezuela while blocking export from Canada. It's crazy.
That's the insane state of affairs that's going on right now under Trudeau's Liberal government. It's crazy. We're all out here on a cold, snowy day in Edmonton because this matters to us. It matters deeply.
I think we're going to run into a bit of a problem with BC. What do we do there?
Well, if we're going to have to deal with British Columbia, cut the taps off and build a refinery here and sell it back to them at super high prices.
I think a little bit of hardball is in order. It can start by letting our friends in BC start paying $2 a litre for gas.
You can't just turn off the taps, but what you can do is send a lot more heavy oil down that pipeline and a lot less refined fluids. I want him to do that. I just want him to, number one, make BC pay. Make people in the Lower Mainland that hate oil and gas, make them pay.
I really don't know what you're going to do with BC. It's pretty hard to understand a province that knows that their gas prices are rising constantly because of their thoughts on this stuff. They have a lot of people there that have a different agenda and a different view of the world. It's not obviously wrong or right, it's just different, and it's going to cause a lot of grief between the two provinces. I think we need to go east and get involved in Keystone again.
They can work something out, you know. And the environment is, for sure, should be something that we all have to think about. But we can't just go ahead and shut everything off. Come on. You know, there's people that need to work. There's people that depend on this stuff. And a process slowly, I think, is better than just going ahead and shutting everything off right off the bat. Come on. People need to work. There's a lot of unemployment for the last 3 years, you know, and there's a need in Canada to understand that this oil is not bad for everybody, right?
I have a list in my pocket of the Alberta and Saskatchewan members of Parliament who voted for Bill C-48 last spring. I won't bring it out now because it's too much bother, but people should check to see who were those people that voted for Bill C-48. Some of them are representing Calgary members, unemployed members.
Why should we negotiate? Because October is coming, and we have our various choices. We can, by the Constitution, impose a pipeline. No mayor, no premier, no a single Aboriginal band should be able to stop a project of national interest. And that's what pipelines are, projects of national interest.
You can't expect him to do everything, but he's set the bar for expectation high, and he damn well better deliver, because if he doesn't, man, he could be the reason why separation gets mainstreamed. He could be the reason why, should Trudeau be re-elected, that Alberta falls on the hardest times it's ever fallen on.
This pro-oil and gas rally against Bill C-48, the tanker ban law, is just wrapping up here in Edmonton outside of the Senate hearings. Now, attendance was a little low, somewhere between 20 and 30 people over the course of an hour, although I was the only media that showed up, and you know, if two lefty lunatics are joined in protest, the CBC will definitely show up and give them time on the 6 o'clock news. Now, I think attendance was a little low because of course, the weather, and because a lot of people were over at the swearing in of Jason Kenney's cabinet, but also because in the past, people felt they needed to protest and rally because they had a government in the NDP who wouldn't take on the federal government on their behalf. And today, that changed here in Alberta. From downtown Edmonton, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid for the Rebel.media. I'm here in downtown Edmonton telling the other side of the story that the mainstream media doesn't even show up to tell. Now, if you want to support our independent journalism, treat yourself to a Rebel subscription today.